The suburban neighborhood of Maplewood was peaceful and quiet, with its picket fences and neatly trimmed lawns. Life there was simple and predictable. Daniel and Laura Reed had just moved into one of the cozy two-story houses, excited to start their new life as a family. Their 6-week-old baby girl, Sophie, was the center of their world. Living with them was Rocky, a 3-year-old pit bull with a shiny brindle coat and warm brown eyes. Daniel had adopted Rocky from a shelter before he met Laura. Rocky had been by his side during some tough times, proving to be a loyal and gentle companion. But Laura wasn't as fond of Rocky. She'd heard stories about pit bulls being dangerous, and now that Sophie was around, her unease turned into outright worry. Every time the baby monitor picked up a sound, Laura tensed up. She often found Rocky sitting outside Sophie's nursery, his ears perked and body alert. One evening, while rocking Sophie to sleep, Laura noticed scratches on the nursery door. "Daniel," she called, her voice sharp. "Did you see these marks? I think Rocky's been scratching at the door." Daniel frowned. "I don't think so. Rocky's never done anything like that before." Still, Laura's mind raced. Over the next few days, she noticed more scratches, and once, she thought she heard soft whimpering through the baby monitor. At first, she brushed it off as new mom jitters, but her worries wouldn't go away. To ease her concerns, she suggested setting up a camera in Sophie's room. Daniel reluctantly agreed, hoping it would help Laura relax. A few nights later, they sat together on the couch, watching the footage on their laptop. Everything seemed normal at first. Sophie was asleep in her crib, and the room was quiet. Then Rocky appeared on the screen. He walked into the nursery, head low and tail wagging gently. He sniffed the air, then stood on his hind legs to peer into Sophie's crib. "What is he doing?" Laura whispered, her voice filled with fear. Daniel didn't answer at first. He kept watching as Rocky placed his paws gently on the crib and leaned closer, his posture calm and curious. "I knew it," Laura said, her voice trembling. "Daniel, he's getting too close. What if he hurts her?" "He's not doing anything wrong," Daniel said, trying to stay calm. "Not yet," Laura shot back. "But what if he does? Do you really want to take that chance?" The argument went on late into the night. Laura was certain Rocky was a danger, and Daniel, though heartbroken, reluctantly agreed to look into rehoming him. Rocky, sensing the tension, stayed close to Sophie's door that night, his body curled protectively. A few days later, Daniel sat in the living room, struggling with their decision. Memories of Rocky flooded his mind, the day he adopted him, the comfort Rocky had given him during his hardest moments. Rocky wasn't just a pet, he was family. But Laura's fears about Sophie's safety loomed large. "I just can't trust him," Laura said, her voice soft but firm. "This is about Sophie." Laura's guilt began to weigh on her. She had seen Rocky's gentle moments, like when he nuzzled Sophie's blanket or quietly sat by her crib. But she couldn't shake her fear. What if she was wrong? What if Rocky was only trying to protect Sophie? One cold night, Sophie, who had been fussy all day, suddenly spiked a fever. Laura, worried, tucked her into her crib and went to call the pediatrician. Suddenly, Rocky's frantic barking erupted from the nursery. Laura rushed upstairs, her heart racing. She found Rocky standing on his hind legs by the crib, barking toward the corner of the room. Sophie was crying weakly, her face flushed. "Rocky, stop!" Laura yelled, scooping Sophie into her arms. But as she held her daughter, she noticed Rocky wasn't barking at Sophie. He was staring at something unseen, his body tense and alert. Shaken, Laura took Sophie to her room and called Daniel. Later, as they reviewed the camera footage, the truth became clear. The video showed Sophie tossing and turning in her crib, struggling to breathe. Rocky entered the room, sniffed her, and gently nudged her with his nose. When she didn't respond, he barked urgently, trying to get help. Laura's eyes filled with tears as she watched. "Oh my gosh," she whispered. He was trying to save her. Rocky's instincts had been right. Sophie had a respiratory infection, and the doctor said they had brought her in just in time to prevent a serious emergency. That night, as Laura sat beside Rocky, she felt a wave of guilt and gratitude. "I'm so sorry, Rocky," she whispered, stroking his head. "I was wrong about you." From that day on, everything changed. Laura began to see Rocky as a protector, not a threat. She worked with a trainer to better understand his behavior and shared their story to help others see past stereotypes. Sophie and Rocky became inseparable, their bond unbreakable. Pictures of Sophie hugging Rocky filled their home, a reminder of the lesson they had learned: loyalty and love can come from the most unexpected places. As the weeks passed, the Reeds grew closer as a family, strengthened by the challenges they had faced. They started spending more time together, whether it was taking long walks in the park or enjoying quiet evenings at home. Rocky seemed to sense the change too. He was more relaxed, his tail wagging more often, and his soulful eyes sparkling with happiness. One afternoon, Laura sat on the back porch watching Sophie and Rocky play in the yard. Sophie giggled as Rocky gently nudged a ball toward her. Laura couldn't help but smile. The fear she once felt had been replaced by admiration and trust. She realized how much she had underestimated Rocky and how wrong it was to judge him based on his breed. Daniel joined her on the porch, handing her a cup of tea. "He's amazing, isn't he?" he said, nodding toward Rocky. Laura nodded. "He really is. I can't believe I almost let my fear take him away from us." Daniel placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "What matters is that we're all together now. Rocky's part of the family, and he always will be." Inspired by their experience, Laura and Daniel decided to share their story with others. They started writing posts on social media, hoping to challenge stereotypes about pit bulls and encourage people to see them as individuals, not just a breed. Their story quickly gained attention, with people from all over reaching out to share similar experiences. The Reeds even partnered with a local shelter to help raise awareness about adopting misunderstood breeds. Sophie grew up with Rocky by her side. He was there for her first steps, her first words, and every milestone in between. The bond they shared was undeniable. Rocky was more than a pet. He was Sophie's protector, her playmate, and her best friend. One day, as Sophie's laughter filled the house, Laura reflected on how far they had come. She thought about the lessons Rocky had taught them: the importance of trust, the power of love, and the danger of letting fear cloud judgment. She knew they were lessons she would carry with her for the rest of her life. Years later, as Sophie looked through photo albums filled with memories of her childhood, she stopped at a picture of herself hugging Rocky. "Mom," she said, looking up with a smile, "Rocky was the best dog ever." Laura smiled, her heart full. "Yes, he was, sweetheart. He taught us all what it means to truly love and be loved." The story of Rocky and the Reeds became a cherished tale in their family, passed down through the years. It was a reminder that sometimes the greatest heroes come in the most unexpected forms, and that love and loyalty can overcome even the deepest fears. The suburban neighborhood of Maplewood remained as peaceful as ever, but for the Reeds, life would never be the same. They had found something far more meaningful than they ever expected: a loyal friend, an unbreakable bond, and a lesson in love that would last a lifetime. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. Let's spread the message of compassion, understanding, and the incredible bond between humans and animals. Together, we can make a difference. Sparkling Heart Paw Prints.